You are watching the Global Gamers Invitational Tournament brought to you by iFixit. SCVs for the real world. The Handsome Nerd attire for the handsomest of nerds. And Esports United, sponsored by Intel. This broadcast is also made possible by IC Cup TV, TeamLiquid.net, and of course, Blizzard Entertainment. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Global Gamers Invitational. This is Mac here with Railcoon for IC Cup TV. We are in Game 3 of the round of 16 series between TLO and TTOne. TLO facing elimination here, going down the first two games, a little bit surprising. And it's really going to be up to him now to make something happen in a big map like this. TTOne really love it, lots of opportunities for drops, really exploitable cliff on that expansion. So hopefully this will not be our last game of the evening, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, so do you see TLO as the red Terran at 9 o'clock? Cross positions, Lost Temple, that is going to help out TLO and trying to hold off these early aggression attacks from TT1. But, you know, in this circumstance, TT1 can easily sit back and play a macro game. Isn't going to be forced into 4-warp gate style of play like he was on Steps of War. Because if you're not going for a lot of units early on Steps, you can get into a lot of trouble. So a lot of Protoss players do tend to favor 3-4 warp gate on that map. So we'll have to see how this plays out a little bit differently. If DT1 does not get those early units, then the early aggression will probably be in the hands of TLO. But I can't emphasize enough, you know, the psychological state of a best of 3. You played a very close game 1, you're doing all right, and then you just get completely manhandled in game 2. It makes it very hard for you to recover and play a good game 3 for most players. TLO is a very good player, so I would hope to see him come back here, but there is a chance that TT1 could just throw something unexpected at him, trying to take advantage of that psychological advantage that happens in these best of 5 series.
Yeah, definitely a tough road ahead for TLO to win 3 games to come back, but it's certainly not beyond him. I do want to once again thank the sponsors who brought these guys out. Of course, once again, iFixit, SCVs for the real world. Also, Esports United, sponsored by Intel, and the Handsome Nerd Tire for the handsomest of nerds. Now, like you were saying about the intimidation factor, obviously not the hugest deal, but certainly from TT1's perspective, he's got 3 games and he only has to win 1 of them. And I would not be surprised to see some early aggression once again from TT1 simply because it's been so effective in the past. And of course, as a Protoss player with warp gates, all distances are short distances when it comes to about an 8 or 10 minute push. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a similar play from him once again. Of course, this is a good map for Terran to defend on. You have that nice little jutting out point that lets you fire before enemies even get to the ramp. So 4-gate might be difficult, might be seeing a variant 2-gate robo or something to that effect. Nonetheless, I would not be surprised to see aggression.
Yeah, but he get a second gas pretty quickly and is now making a sentry. So we might even see 1-gate robo. There we go, robotics facility going down for TT1 before a second gateway. And this could go one of 2 ways. He could sit back, wait for a Colossus, and just go for a push. Or he could try and get out some Immortals, because he has seen a pretty good Marauder count from TLO in most of the previous games. Try and use that knowledge he has from previous games, maybe get a couple of Immortals out, mix it in with some Warp Gate units, and try and take him out. And either one would be perfectly viable in this situation, so we'll have to see which one he goes for.
Seeing a Hellion moving out for TLO, no doubt scouting Hellion. Good players, this is so common to see them say, oh, I'll build a Hellion for 100 minerals, send the Hellion in, he'll die, no big deal. He's cheaper than a Mule, which is so true. And meanwhile in his base, he's got a nice little Marine count, producing still Marines from the Tech Lab, which I find very interesting. No Marauders to speak of as of yet, and no Marauder upgrades. So we are getting Stim and Combat Shield. So I think we're going to get a mass Marine push from TLO with full upgrades.
Yeah, and it's interesting because he dropped a second Tech Lab instead of getting a Reactor if he was going to go for mass Marine push. So that does mean that if he is going for a Marine push, it's going to be coming a little bit earlier because he's just trying to double upgrade these at the same time. And if you are going for that earlier push, sometimes the two barracks and having to wait for the reactor does not quite pay off in time. So I would expect to see him turn this around, go move out almost as soon as Stim finishes, because you don't really have to wait for the combat shields upgrade, because if that finishes during battle, you basically get 10 free health on all of your units. And that's really nice if that comes in during a timing attack in battle. So, you know, very, very nice for him to be pushing forward right now, not waiting for the combat shield. Going to try and put a ton of pressure on a TT1. TT1 does not have any immortals producing. He's working on getting a robotics bay, so he's going to have some amazing force fields. And if he does get those force fields down and chops the forces in half with TLO, he could completely deny this attack.
And that's what I think you have to be really afraid of for TLO here. One force field could spell his end. Already, robotics bay is on the way while TLO is expanding, so a failure in this push really opens him up to a counterattack. So we'll see how TLO does here. He does have the combat shield, does have the stim. A lot is riding on this. You'll see TT1 totally set up. He sees this with his observer. He's got a nice concave already built. His sentries are in position, and I don't think this is going to go well for TLO at all.
Yeah, it does look like TT1 is set up in a really nice position. His observer did fly out and see that the Marines were incoming, so he just immediately set up a really nice defensive setup. But TLO is actually just setting up his own concave at the bottom of the ramp as he makes his own expansion. So he's trying to turn this around into a containment instead of putting pressure onto TT1. But against this mass Marine Hellion build and a Colossus on the way, his time to be able to contain TT1 is limited until this Colossus pops out.
Now, the scan did go down. You see Vikings on the way. He knows Colossus are on the way. TLO running away, knowing the Colossus is imminent. And now is TT1's chance. There he is moving out immediately. Colossus just popping. And this is going to be a very dangerous timing attack. TT1 once again could end the game very quickly. We'll see if TLO has the control to do it. He really needs some Marauders to stim. But TLO looks like he's going to turn around. Those Stalkers are fast. They're going to be able to snipe things in retreat. So TLO wants to, you know,
oh, and that is about the worst place to fight the Protoss army. So he doesn't make the good decision of backing up even further. If he fought right there, he just would have gotten force fielded, completely chopped in half. So I thought he was going to engage there, and I was so scared. He does make the good decision, pulls back, going to fight again in sort of a small area. He could get force fielded, but TT1 did use some of that energy. Looks like the Colossus is just enough to completely take him out anyway before it gets killed by the Vikings. Not enough ground forces to stand up to that. By the time that he kills the Colossus, it does not matter. Force fields the ramp to prevent any reinforcements, and TLO calls the GG, going down 3-0 to TT1, definitely unexpected in this series.
Let alone 3 series in a row going 3-0, so a very lopsided opening round here. So our favorites are clearly the big favorites, but TT1 a bit of an upset. And I gotta say this again for the third time. Good Canadian kid. He's just beaten TLO. Clearly he should have been there in the GSL kicking butt. Well played by TLO, TT1 bullying what is a more imaginative player. And this is exactly like I said. TLO really struggles with just basic early pressure. He's so imaginative. He can really do some crazy stuff late game that you totally don't expect. But TT1 doesn't give him a single opportunity, cuts him down 3-0 early every single time.